YouTubers, I'm here with another tutorial for you today. This was requested. I'm going to be making a tutorial on how to make a cozy sack that will stay open. What I use is this stuff right here. It's called polyethylene tubing. You can get it pretty much at any Home Depot or hardware store. So like Home Depot, Lowe's will have it, Rona if you're in Canada. Sorry, I'm not sure of the American hardware stores other than Home Depot and Lowe's, but they'll both have it. It'll be located in the plumbing section. Other materials that you're going to need is fleece for the inside. You can also use fleece for the outside if that's what you prefer. Today I'm using a flannel. You can also use cotton. You will need something to measure your material with. I have a measuring tape and a yardstick. You're also going to need something to mark your fabric. So I have 2 fabric markers and a Sharpie marker. Make sure that you're writing on the wrong side of the fabric if you're using a permanent marker. These pencils here will actually wipe off if you use a damp cloth. They're absolutely amazing, and if you are if you sew a lot, I definitely recommend to get these. They're not great to use on fleece, but on cotton and flannel, thinner fabrics, they're great. So moving on, other material you're going to need is some pins. Definitely pins. Some scissors. You want to use good sharp scissors to give you an even cut. And then a sewing machine. I'm not doing this by hand. Hand sewing I can't do. I suck at it. So we're going to do this tutorial with a sewing machine. Now I don't put batting inside of my cozy sacks, but you can absolutely if you want to. Nothing wrong with that. You can also put U-Haul in it or anything else to make it a little more comfy. I put pee pads in mine, so I don't see a point in putting anything in between the layers since I put the pads in, and that's what my girls go to the bathroom on. So yeah, moving on. The measurements for my cozy sack are 13 inches wide by 13 inches long, giving you a pretty nice square. Lots of room for a larger guinea pig, or 2 smaller guinea pigs will go in it. My girls like to share theirs for a little bit until one of them kicks the other one out. So for your outer material, you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 14 by 14. For the inner material, you're going to cut 2 pieces that is 14 wide, and then you're going to want to cut it to about 18 inches long. You're going to do 2 pieces like this. So you should have 2 pieces of your outer fabric 14 by 14, 2 pieces of your inner fabric that are 14 wide by 18 long. Sorry, brain fart for a second. And I will show you why in a moment. I'm going to get to cutting my stuff out and then I will be back. Okay, all my pieces are cut and I'm pretty much ready to start sewing. Before I start sewing, I would like to show you a couple of things. Number one, most times your flannel or your cotton material will have a right side and a wrong side. So this right here is the right side and this is the wrong side. You can kind of see the owls, but it's mostly white on the background. Sometimes it just looks washed out, but you can tell an obvious difference if you look at it. Kind of flip it like how I have it. You should be able to see one will be brighter, more vibrant than the other. Same with my fleece. This is the right side of my fleece. You can see it's very bright, it's not washed out at all. This is the wrong side. You can see that it's kind of going out of the lines of the flowers. You can see it looks almost like it's smeared. So this is my wrong side, this is my right side. Very important when you're sewing to make sure that right sides always go together, wrong sides face outwards, Otherwise, you're going to have a backwards project. It's not going to look very good. I did not cut my tubing yet. That is the very last step that we're going to do. So first we're going to sew the two outer pieces right sides facing each other. We're going to put pins all around. Then we're going to sew 3 edges shut. So we're going to sew down here, across, and then we're going to go up. And then we're going to put it aside. But first, if you're using batting or if you're using U-Haul, you would first want to attach your batting or U-Haul to either side first. This will make it stay put as you're sewing the rest of your project together, and will help it not bunch up in the wash if it's actually sewn to the material as opposed to just put in afterwards. Alright, so I'm going to try to get this set up and show you guys exactly how I sew it. So that might take me a minute. I'll be back. Another quick thing I want to point out is if you have a directional print, you want to make sure that it's going the direction that you want it to. So for example, my fleece here, it's just a flower pattern. There's no direction to it. My owls, however, are all facing one way. So if I don't sew this properly, my cozy sack is going to end up having sideways owls or possibly upside down owls, and that won't look very nice. So if you have a directional print like I do, just make sure that it's facing the way that you want. Always take time to double check, double measure, double everything. That way your project will turn out excellent. Okay, I'll be back. I now have all of my pieces. I have my outer pieces all pinned together except for this upper part, which I left open. So I've got it under my sewing machine now. We're going to do about 1/2 inch of an inseam. I have it on a straight stitch. So you can see there, number 2 is a straight stitch. It's on a straight stitch. And we're just going to put my tension up a little bit. So foot is down, needle is down. So now we're just going to sew all 3 edges together. Alright, always remember to back stitch after you've done a few stitches. This will help lock it in place. Alright, here we go. So you don't, with flannel you don't really want to get too close to that edge because it will fray. You can fix this by doing a zigzag stitch all the way around, and that'll kind of lock it together like a serger would. I don't have a serger, so I don't I don't worry about doing that. So we're just going to turn it now. The needle's still down while I do this. Focus. Alright, yes, there we go. So needle's still down, just keeps my material in place so it's not going all over the place and I don't lose my place. So we are going to put the foot down and we're going to sew all across again. And once again, not getting too close to that edge. We're going to keep our needle down. Lift the corner, lift the foot up, flip it. Make sure your material is straight. Then we're going to put the foot down, and once again we're going to sew all the way up our last edge. to remember to back stitch a little bit. And forward again to lock it in place. And that is it. All 3 of our pieces are sewn together. So our outer pieces are sewn together. So there, you probably can't see, but all the way around, nice stitching. So now what I'm going to do is trim the edges, and then I'm going to put it aside for now after taking the pins out. I'll be back. Here we are with our inner fleece piece. I have the right sides facing together. It's all pinned, and what I'm going to do is just sew around those same 3 edges, leaving the top open. Now after you've sewn your outer piece, if you decide to do that zigzag stitch, you want to make sure that you go back to a straight stitch, otherwise your stitch will be a little bit loose and it's not really going to hold together very well. So make sure you're doing a straight stitch first. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sew up these 3 edges, and then I will be back to show you what it looks like. Hey guys, I'm back. So I have sewn my fleece together, and I have trimmed all the edges nice and short. The fleece does not require a zigzag stitch because it doesn't fray. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this part inside out. Okay, so just leave it how it is. This part though, we're going to flip it so that the right side is facing the outside. So we're just going to flip it. And we're going to make sure that all of our corners are nice and pushed out. So they're nice and pointy. You don't have to use if you can't get in the corners all the way, you can use blunted scissors or a pencil. You can use a pen lid. Nothing sharp though, because you don't want to poke any holes. Otherwise your project will be ruined, right? You don't want any holes in your project. It's not nice. So now we have our cozy sack. Oh, that's the bottom. Sorry. There's the top. So when they go inside of it, the owls are going to be facing them. Oh wait. No. Yes. It's this way. So it'll be like that. So now we're going to take our fleece piece, we're going to put it inside here while it's still inside out. And guinea pig cage behind me. I now have a double stacked CNC cage. Living arrangements have kind of moved around. I will discuss that a little bit later though. So you're going to poke that fleece corner right into this corner, and for it to stay like that, I like to put a pin in there, and that just keeps it from moving around as we're trying to fold the fleece over top. So yeah, just put a pin in there, keeps it all nice and even. So I'm going to take our other corner, and we're just going to poke that in there, and once again, once it's flattened, we're going to put a pin in there. Alright, so we now have kind of like a bag with a little bit of extra fleece sticking out of the top. We're going to make sure that our oh, yes, I have a hat on because I like to wear my hat in wintertime. Always wearing my hat. My mom thinks it's very funny. Okay, so your cozy sack should look something like this with a big fleece piece sticking out the top of it. And what we're going to do with that now is we're going to take it, we're going to fold it just once for right now. Okay, so we're going to fold it down, folded, this side, folded. And then what I like to do to make sure that it's even is just a little tug at the sides. That's another reason why you want to do the zigzag stitch. It really holds everything in place because this part can get a little bit rough. So you're going to keep it nicely folded, and then once it's all even, pretty looking, you're going to do that fold again. So we're actually going to fold your fleece piece twice because we want that raw edge to be tucked underneath. So we're just going to fold that again, and once again, just do that little tug. So now you will have something that looks like this. There you go. Now here is the tricky part that everybody wants to know about. How do I put that tubing in there? Well, first what I do is I take about 2 fingers and I will sew a line all the way down. This side too. 2 fingers and sew all the way along that side. So that way when it's open, it's actually almost like a U shape. Okay, so I'm going to go and do that, and then I will be back to show you what else we have to do. So I'm going to attempt to show you exactly how I do this. So open, 2 fingers again, that part goes underneath my presser foot goes down, needle goes down, we're going to go all the way to that fold. So, and don't forget to backstitch. So that's the first one, and we want to do this on both sides. So you can't see because my stitches are very tight. But maybe if I put you might be able to see that. So we're going to do that on the other side as well. Yes. Down, down. Alright, so we now have both of our sides sewn. Now comes what I call the trickiest part, because we're going to leave one side open. But at our original seam where we sewed the fleece together and the outside part together, we're going to sew, and we're going to sew all the way around, all the way around until we hit that double finger crease. Okay, so you're going to go all the way to here. No, you're going to pass that and go all the way so that your bottom has a nice crease as well. But you're going to stop at that crease that you've just made. So we're going to leave this space here totally open. We do not want to sew this part at all. It's about 3 inches or so. Oh, I need to take my table off. Table, go away. I cannot sew with you like that. Alright, so don't forget to backstitch again. to that first seam that I had, and I'm going to back stitch there and leave that one space open. So there I'm at it. Do the back stitch, forward, and we're good. So now you should have a very nice little seam where everything's sewed shut except for that one hole. And I'm going to prepare everything. I will be back when I am done. Okay, so I have now cut my tubing and it is hollow. I don't know if you guys can see. Hollow! So what you're going to do in order to keep this waterproof so that it doesn't get any water in it, you're going to purchase, along with this tubing, in the same section, all-weather duct tape. And what that is, it's a special duct tape that can be heated. I forget the exact rating. I think it's 40 Celsius. It's pretty high anyway. It's a really good rating. You can take it out in the cold weather, so negative temperatures. It goes in the higher upper temperatures, which is very good if you plan on putting this in the washer and the dryer and you don't want it to melt. You have to get the all-weather duct tape. Okay, it should be around the same section where you got this. If not, just ask somebody and they'll know exactly what you're talking about and they'll be able to help you. So where we left that space open, lovely space, we're going to feed this through, and once it hits that other seam over here, it's going to stop. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sew up that space and your cozy sack is going to be done. It's a very, very simple tutorial, and your guinea pigs are going to love it because it's going to stay open. It will not flatten, although they may be like my girls and still enjoy laying on top of them instead of going inside them. Yeah, I'm a cozy maker with guinea pigs who don't like to go inside their cozies. I don't know, I have weird pigs. So here's the end here, so you're just going to tuck that in and it should lay against your other seam. So it's going to lay against it just like that. And then once you have sewn that seam shut, open cozy sack. You can put a pad in there so that they don't go to the bathroom. But that's pretty much it. All you have to do is just sew that seam shut. You don't have to do any special folds, nothing. That's how it's done. Very, very easy. The polyethylene tubing that I get, I think, I'm in Canada, so the prices are going to be a little bit different, cheaper if you live in the US, for sure. But I pay about $5.98 for 25 feet. I used, this one here is 19 inches, so it's about 1.5 feet. So I can make about 20 cozy sacks with just the one 25-foot roll of polyethylene tubing. So definitely comes in handy. You can make them any size that you want. If you want to make it bigger, you can make it bigger. Play around, do what you like. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. Feel free to like, feel free to suggest other tutorials. I can pretty much, I can make just about everything. So if there's any tutorials that you want to learn how to do, from cuddle cups to open-ended cozy sacks to tunnels to chairs to hooded huts, yeah, if there's anything else, just let me know. Hope your piggies really like this. Mine, like I said, prefer to lay here instead, but whatever, it's comfy. Oh, and don't forget to take your pins out. Any pins that you have left, and any strings that you have left, trim them. They are not good for guinea pigs. Alright, thank you for requesting. Thank you for asking questions. I think that's about it. It's really late here, so I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night, everyone. I will speak to you in my next one, which will either be another tutorial or it's going to be a cage tour times 3, because I now have 3 cages. 3 cages, but 4 if you count the guinea pigs that I'm babysitting. Pig sitting? Is there pig sitting? I don't know. Anyway, night!